Hello friends, I am Sarika Rai Sharma, Assistant Professor, School of Education, Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya, Wardha, Maharashtra. Today we will discuss about variables. But before we start this topic, we must understand why is it at all important to study variables. Well, one cannot understand the research without some technical and methodological competence. And as an MA student, it is necessary for you to submit a dissertation report at the end of your course. And hence, it is necessary for you to get certain technical competence. But unfortunately, this technical competence is futile without an understanding of the basic intent and nature of research. It is equally impossible to do a good research or to read and understand research reports without any understanding about the basic concepts. Therefore, we will be discussing today this topic to give you an understanding about the research problems, about variables. And hence, after going through this presentation, you will be able to develop an understanding about the concept of variables and the types of variables in a particular research study. How these variables are classified, the basis for their classification. Also, after going through this presentation, you will be able to distinguish between independent and dependent variables. You will be able to identify the active and attribute variables in a research study. You will also be able to measure the variables in a particularly given situation, whether it has to be continuous or a discrete variable. You will also be able to identify the confounding and extraneous variables, the intervening variables in a research study, so as to control these variables from affecting the result. A variable has two properties. It should be measurable, and secondly, it must vary. Therefore, we can say that variable is a property or a characteristic that is measurable and that may take on different values. That is, there is a possibility of differences. For example, if you are a researcher and you are interested in studying the achievement of class 8 female students in mathematics, the characteristic that will vary is the achievement scores, whereas class 8 female and mathematics in this particular study will not change. Therefore, these three are constant. Now, you may get confused that the variables can only be numbers. No. The traits or the attributes that we are supposed to measure in a particular study, that we are interested in measuring in a particular study, need not be quantitative. It can be qualitative as well. For example, gender, religion, language, etc. Now, so here are the different types of variables. This basis of classification varies for each category. First of all, independent variable and dependent variable. It is based on the cause-effect, presumed cause and effect relation. The second category is the active variable and attribute variable. It is based on the potential for active manipulation by the researcher. Now, the third category for the classification of variables is the continuous variable and the discrete variable based on the measurement scale. And the fourth one is the extraneous variable and the intervening variable that is based on the potential to influence the dependent variable. We will be discussing these categories one by one in detail. So coming to the very first category, that is the independent variable and dependent variable. Now Kerlinger has described the independent variable as the presumed cause of the dependent variable. Hence, in this particular case, the independent variable is the antecedent and the independent variable is the one which is manipulated by the researcher. So, in a particular study, for example, let's take an example. In a study where the researcher is interested in knowing the effect of pedagogical approaches on learners' achievement, the independent variable in this study will become the types of pedagogical approaches that a researcher can vary or manipulate to study their respective consequences on learners' achievement. Coming to the dependent variable. Of course, the dependent variable here refers to that variable which a researcher observes and predicts after the manipulation in the independent variable. Therefore, here the dependent variable becomes the consequent. In the previous slide, we have already discussed that the independent variable was the antecedent, whereas here we get to know that the dependent variable is the consequent. The independent variable is a presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is the presumed effect. Why? Because we are manipulating the independent variable as a researcher and observes its effect on the dependent variable. Now, the dependent variable should have certain qualities, certain properties. That is, it should be sensitive, it should be valid, and it should be reliable. So let me explain these three words a bit. Sensitive here means the dependent variable must respond on any change or slight fluctuation in the independent variable. Similarly, the dependent variable should measure that trait for which it is meant for, and it will ensure its validity. Thirdly, the reliability concept. That means the dependent variable, the measurement that we are getting for a dependent variable on manipulation in the independent variable should repeat itself. It should be reliable. So, taking the example from the previous slide that we have discussed while discussing the independent variable in the previous slide. In that particular example, the learner's achievement was dependent on the pedagogical approaches taken by the teacher, and hence the learner's achievement is a dependent variable in this study. Now, coming to the next category. Attribute variable and active variable. As we have already discussed, that this categorization or this classification or types of variables are based on the potential for manipulation by the researcher. So as the name suggests, attribute variables are those variables that cannot be manipulated by the researcher. For example, gender, socioeconomic status. These are certain things, religion. These are certain things that we cannot change. The researcher cannot change. According to Kurlinger, it will be more accurate if we associate the word attribute with an inanimate entities like organizations, geographical zones, groups, social structures, etc. So, coming to the next one, active variable. These are those variables that can be manipulated during the research study by the researcher, and hence its name is active variable because it has the potential for manipulation. For example, the pedagogical approaches, reinforcement given by the teacher, difficulty level of an item, all these are examples of active variables because a researcher can manipulate these aspects or these traits, these properties. However, this distinction between attribute variable and active variable is flexible and general. Now, what does this mean? That means in a particular research study, achievement is an active variable or achievement acts as an active variable. But in some other study, this achievement can be converted into an attribute variable. Now, the question that will be emerging in your mind will be how achievement can be converted into attribute variable. Basically, what we do when we take achievement as an active variable, it is in the form of scores. Whereas when we convert it into an attribute variable, we we divide our entire sample into 3 categories or 4 categories as per the researcher, like high achievers, average achievers, and low achievers. Now this high achievers, average achievers, and low achievers becomes attribute value. So I hope now you will be clear how this classification and categorization is flexible. Because you might be getting certain properties or certain traits as an active variable in one research study as an attribute variable in another study. Moving towards the third category, that is the continuous variable and discrete variable. The continuous variables are those variables that can be measured even in decimal points. That is, we can express their values into fractions and we find infinite set of values within a certain range. For example, height, weight, age of an individual, time taken by an athlete to complete a race, etc. So, a larger value in case of a continuous variable represents more of the characteristic being measured than a smaller value. Like in this ruler, as you can see, in this particular ruler, the length or distance between 1 and 2 is split into 10 smaller divisions. If you can't see it here, you can take a ruler in your own home and observe for the smaller partitions between 1 and 2. There will be 10 smaller divisions, where each smaller division represents 0.1 centimeter. Similarly, if you go on splitting those smaller divisions into 10 further smaller divisions, then we can say that it represents 0.01 centimeter. And we can keep on splitting this distance infinitely. So, we can say that continuous variables are capable of taking an infinite set of values within a range, theoretically. Coming to the discrete variables. The discrete variables cannot be measured into decimal points, and hence their values has to be expressed in whole numbers. So definitely there will be a clear gap between these two values or between two values of the characteristic being measured. For example, number of books in a library or number of rooms in a hotel or in your own home, number of students in a college, all these are discrete variables because they have to be expressed in whole numbers only. We can't use fraction for these traits. In some books, you will see that it is termed as categorical variable. For example, you have never heard someone saying that when I entered the classroom, there was half a child present. Or you have never heard a librarian saying that we have 700.36 books in our library. So, as you can see, they are not expressed into fractions. Now, the last one in the types of variables were extraneous variables and intervening variables. Both these are termed as confounding variables. According to Best and Kahn, confounding variables are those aspects that might influence the dependent variable. And the effects of the confounding variable on the dependent variable may be confused with the effects of the independent variable by the researcher. And these confounding variables are further of two types, intervening variables and extraneous variables. Now, we will be discussing about the intervening variables. The intervening variables are those confounding variables that encompass internal and directly unobservable psychological processes that may influence the dependent variable, like boredom, fatigue, excitement. All these are such traits that we cannot measure directly because they pertain to an individual's emotions and feelings. So suppose you want to see the effect of teaching strategies on learning. The factors that you can't observe directly are boredom, fatigue, excitement. So in such cases, these act as intervening variable. The next in the category was extraneous variable. The extraneous variables are those confounding variables that have the potential to act in a similar manner as the independent variable and thus have a significant influence on the dependent variable. So we can say if they are affecting the dependent variable, therefore they influence the final results of the research study. For instance, teachers' competence, enthusiasm of the class, and the age, socioeconomic status, or academic ability of the students are examples of extraneous variables. Best and Kahn has suggested a word of caution about the extraneous variables that in order for an extraneous variable to act as a confounding variable, it should have a high correlation with the independent variable and the dependent variable. Only then it has the potential to act as independent variable and its effect can be mistaken for that of the independent variable. This effect on dependent variable due to an extraneous variable is termed as experimental error. And a researcher always tries to minimize this experimental error. So what can he do? What can he or she do to minimize this experimental error? The mechanisms or the strategies taken by a researcher to minimize the experimental error includes removal of the extraneous variable, randomization, matching cases, ANCOVA. However, you will learn about experimental error and ANCOVA and all these strategies mentioned by me in detail in a different open learning resource that will be dealing with experimental research design. There are certain books recommended in the reference list at the end of this presentation that you can study for further information if you wish. Now, the last one, the moderator variable, was described by Barron and Kenny as a third-party variable that modify the relationship between an independent variable and a dependent variable. For example, after having lunch, the students feel sleepy in a classroom. But sometimes, even after having a heavy and oily lunch, the students don't feel sleepy and are alert in the class. Maybe because of an interesting lecture or some interesting activity conducted by the teacher. In certain cases, we find that the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable is influenced by the conditions in which they are acting. Take another example. As a researcher, if you are studying seeing the effect of education on health screening or health checkup, you will find that there is a high correlation. Suppose you are finding that there is a high correlation. If we are educated, we go for regular health checkups. Suppose this is the case. Now this particular relation gets more strengthened with aging. Meaning, as we grow older, the frequency of these health checkups starts increasing. So in this particular case, age is a moderator variable between an independent variable, that is education, and the dependent variable, that is health screening or health checkup. I hope now that you have been clear with all your doubts regarding variables, the types of variables, what is the concept of variables, in a particular research, how will we define what is in a particular research, how will you define what is your independent variable, what is your dependent variable, what are the extraneous variables that you have to take care of, what could be a moderator variable in your research, whether your variable is a continuous variable or a discrete variable, whether it is an attribute variable or active variable. That means, can you change it? Can you manipulate it? So all these things we have covered in today's discussion. I hope it will be helpful for your future endeavors. For further studies, you can refer to these books. They will provide you not only with variables, but also the research design that you are planning to take up during your ABMED research study. Thank you so much.